you. You draw near, you draw near to me. So it's just very simple, very intimate, and there's not a lot of words going on. I think within songwriting, much like, thanks for the hearts, Periscope, much like music making, we talked about this from a band standpoint yesterday. If you haven't seen yesterday's post on Draw Near, I talked about the arranging of the song and how we can allow each instrument to speak and build off of one another. Song is so critical that we build a story. Shakara, you talked about being a storyteller. Well, within lyrics, it's the same way. I think the more simpler, the better, right? So the more simpler that we can make our music, the more simple that the lyrics are going to be, the easier it's going to be for people to catch in their heads and heart. So let me ask you again. So what are some? Let me ask you this: if you're writing songs, TD, Shakara, Vicky, others that are out there, what happens when you experience the dreaded writer's block? When it just hits you like a big brick wall or a wave that crashes over, whatever it may be, what are the things that stop you from writing songs? And by the way, again, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the broadcast. Great to have you. If you would, please slide it over and share this out with your friends. Thanks so much for that. So let us know, what is it that stops you from writing songs? Or like when you experience the writer's block, what do you do? How do you get out of that? So let me hear from you. Just type in the comment window. All right, Terry says, put it aside and come back to it later, and I get more to write. Awesome. I love that response. Who else? What else happens when you get to the dreaded writer's block? What do you do? How do you get into that? Terry, I love what you said. You just got to walk away sometimes. Vicky says this, feeling like the lyrics sound stupid. I usually have to walk away for a while. Shakara says, put it down, come back to it, or find a co-writer. Oh, man. Shakara, you had to go there. Thanks for that. The whole idea, you just smoke more. The whole idea is that when you're writing songs, and sometimes for me it can get real heady, where, yeah, I think walking away is a definite must-have. Go do something else. Harry Connick Jr., I love what he said. Write at least 10 minutes a day. Just even if the words, like Vicky said, they sound stupid, and that's okay. Even if they sound bad in your mind, just get it out. I think there's a lot of bad that has to come out before it starts to sound good. So write. That's one of what my mentors have always told me. Look, if you got 10 minutes that you can squirrel away for one spot of your day, man, go to the guitar, go to the piano, if it's just you and a notepad, and just write. Pat Patterson over at Berklee School of Music, who's head of the songwriting department, said the same thing, that you just have to dive into the words. Terry says this, one thing when I get something I'm going to write, or I put it on my voice memo. Yes, ASAP, awesome. Vicky says, but I try at least to finish the song, whether good or bad. Yeah, absolutely. I would be embarrassed probably if my wife were to replay to you all the voice memos that I've left on my phone. I went back like the other month and I saw like I had over 200 voice memos of just na 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 na, and the words don't need to make sense. And I think that trips up people too. It's like, well, I'm afraid, number one, I recorded my voice, and number two, I don't know what to say if I record melody. I just do things like da 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 da. Just non words. La la's, whatever is fine, just to get it out there. If you have an instrument or if you don't. But I have over 200 of these voice memos. That what's awesome about it is that when you're saving content like that, it's fantastic to go back to it later. Like what Terry said, if you experience writer's block, what I do sometimes, I actually go back to what it was that I had written or recorded a voice memo a month ago or a year ago or 6 years ago, and just go back and listen to it. But I think there also needs to be that guarded sense of you don't want to get trapped into the old idea, right? You don't want to go back where you were 6 years ago because maybe you got blocked to that idea also. But the great thing about recording your memos, and I love that you brought that up, Terry, thanks for that, is that it serves as like a library. I do that within my own writing. Like when I'm writing lyrics or even when I'm posting articles, I'll write stuff. Again, like all of our articles you'll see on worshipteamtraining.com. We have a team that come together and we do this. And so I'll build a library of even things that maybe I hadn't finished, and I'll just save it and come back to it a week later or whatever. Sam Haley, what's up? Sam on Facebook Live asked the question, how do you start writing in teams? I love that question. Writing in teams, I think, and Shakira, you said this too, about co-writing. That's a huge, I think, energy source, especially when you do develop writer's block. But how do you start writing in teams? First of all, find somebody that you trust. Find somebody within your network, in your church, in a songwriting group. If you're not a part of a group like that, you can Google and find all kinds of Facebook groups or even a local chapter in your city that may have a songwriting group or a Christian songwriting group. One I recommend if you're in the Nashville area or maybe abroad, you want to go to Christian Songwriters Network. And that's led by our very own John Chisholm, who's with us as well. But he leads a great ministry out there. I would first join some kind of a group just to help pitch your songs. And just to show your songs to others out there is always a great thing to do. More importantly, you can do the same thing with just a friend. If it's somebody that you know down the street or like in your church, or maybe you met them at the coffee shop and you trust them, or whatever it is, how you start writing in teams is that you got to be vulnerable to share your song. And that can just be like, hey, I recorded this one ditty, it's only 30 seconds long, but can you take a listen to it and just let me know what you think? Now, that's the other half of it. So the first half is being vulnerable to share what you got with people. The second half is to be open to the constructive criticism. So if you're putting yourself out there to share and you want to write in teams and you want to write with another co-writer, you have to be vulnerable, number one, there's three things. Give the song to that person and be vulnerable to do it. Number two, receive the constructive criticism. And number three, give it away. So constructive criticism is when they look at your song, when they hear your song, that is the hard part, Shakira, that's right. Be open when they come back and say, yeah, you know what, I like the verse, but this one word that you use here, it didn't make sense as far as the continuity. Or, hey, I love the chorus words, but the melody deserves a better hook. Okay, you have to look at it this way. Number one, don't take it personal at all. If you want to be a better writer, then this is what writers do. They share their stuff and they're open to criticism. Taylor Swift, when she started writing, she had a notebook full of songs. So when she approached one of the Nashville studios in a writing session, she had 20 songs already to show, and they were already just expecting to work on one. But she was prepared. She had 20 of them. It didn't mean that all 20 of them were great, but she put herself out there. So by learning from people's constructive criticism is only going to make you a better writer. So don't take it personally and think, oh, well, they didn't like it. And Shakira says, I'm so sensitive, I want everybody to like my songs, but I'll work on that. Yeah. Now, if you want people to like your songs, then they also have to know that you're open, right? That you're open to that criticism. I get a lot of emails and questions about, hey, can you listen to this song? And it's always that critical moment when you hit that play button because you don't know what's going to be heard, right? But I'm honest and I'll just say, yeah, hey, this part's good. This part needs more working. You have to look at it like a painter or a sculptor. And, if somebody sees a work of art and you're asking them, hey, how does it look? It's only going to make you a better writer. So the other part of that I was saying is look at it as an opportunity to have synergy and look at the song and give it away. That's what I meant. That was the last point. The first was be vulnerable. The second was to be open to criticism, constructive criticism, that is. And number 3, give it away. In other words, it's not yours. When you start sharing it with other people and you share your song for those to give you comments and critique, you're opening yourself up to other people's opinions. And then at that point, if you take their opinion and you start using it, then it's no longer your song. You see what I'm saying? You have to disown the idea, because a lot of times that's happened to me, that I thought, man, this is a really, really great idea. And then I showed it to, like, let's say John Chisholm, one of my heroes. And this guy, John Chisholm, was the one who actually found Paul Baloche. He signed Paul Baloche to Integrity Records. This guy knows music when he hears it. I play a song for John, and typically John likes the stuff that I write, but there's some things that I write that he doesn't like. And I remember one tune that I sent it his way, and man, I was just so on fire about it. I'm like, yeah, but this is a great song. And he came back and he's like, well, yeah, but you have too many ideas. You got 3 ideas running in the same song, you know? And that's hard to do, because we, you know, as far as me, I'm like multitasker, you know, and I like to come up with different melodies all the time and think about different parts. I got to focus on one thing, and that's what he was telling me. But because at first I was resistant to listen to the criticism, because I was so married to what I thought was a good idea, I was missing out on what he was trying to tell me. And then later on, once I humbled myself and came back and said, sorry, your idea was better than mine, then it turned out to be a better song. So you have to have that give and take of receiving the constructive criticism and also giving it away, because you never know how much better your song will be. So yeah, absolutely. I recommend that you, if you are the lone writer, that's okay. I mean, it's great. But you know, if you really want to get good at writing, it's like anything else in life. You have to get good at sharing your material, and not be, let's say, not be critical on yourself, because I know it's so easy for you to write something that, especially when you feel like God gave it to you, and you're like, yeah, but this is, but then there you go again. You have to be open to that and even say, Lord, this is your song, it's not mine. And pray for the people who are listening to your song. I mean, pray for wisdom. Like, God, give them wisdom. I mean, that's a hard prayer, because they're going to be taking apart your song. But look, if you really want to start writing good songs, this is how it is in the professional world. I mean, in fact, it's a lot more cutthroat than what you think, because in the professional world, they'll listen to your song for the first 3-4 seconds. If it doesn't grab them, they'll shut it off. Now you may be thinking, yeah, great, Brandon, you just blew all my dreams away. No, what I'm saying is that you have to look at those first 3-4 seconds as an opportunity of, what can I do to make that better? And then pull in, that's the whole beauty about writing in teams, is use them as like tools. I mean, I send some songs to John. I'll send some other songs to, if it's Tony or Stephanie, and I get different feedback from different people, because I know that John's going to talk about the lyric, Tony's going to talk about the melody, Sarah's going to talk about Stephanie, she's going to talk about the whole entire song, the arrangement. So I know who to ask, and that's really cool about writing in teams, because then you get to be good at, okay, this person is awesome with lyrics, so I can trust them. This one person is great at melody, so I want to go to them. So use that, and you may find out more things than what you realize. Let's move on. What are some other questions that you have? Because I had some things that I'm going to ask you. Number one, just go ahead and type away in the comment box window. Feel free. And again, you never know who else may be watching that may have that same thought as you. So if you have it, share it. Let's go. Here's what I want to know from you. Do you write the melody first, or do you write the lyrics first? That's a big one, right? So let us know what's up while I take a good sweet drink of this. Okay, so time's up. What do you write first, the melody or the lyrics? Now, some may say that, I write the melody first because that gives me the thought. Hal Swift, what's up, Hal? Vicky says depends. Awesome, depends. Like, okay. And then Shakira, melody most of the times. Moran said melody. TD says lyrics, or sometimes both at once. Awesome. Yes. How are you, bro? Yeah, write them at the same time. You know, that's me. That's my mode. And I think that when you're asking others to write in teams, that's a real important question. Vicky says sometimes a melody line come, other times it's I'll get a thought. Yes. Sorry, my thought went blank for a second. But see, that's the beauty about team, is that I go to these guys and I ask them real quick, hey, you know, when I'm joining a team of writers, if it's even just one person, I'll ask right away, what's your strength? Is it melody or lyric? Because then right